everybody, and welcome to our top 10 quick comic picks. I'm Andy,
I'm Matt.
and we're here with Infinity Flux Comics out of Chattanooga, Tennessee. And this is our real quick show where we're showing you some of the biggest and best books hitting your comic book store shelves this week. We did remind you, head over to infinityflux.net right now. You can follow along, you can buy the books along with us talking about them, but definitely head over there for some really cool stuff. This is a really great week
Oh
of
yeah.
comics. I mean, I felt like this is this was a big week where the companies were like, let's put out some heavy
Yeah.
hitters. So let's get into it.
We're going to start with something super duper special. Speaking of going to infinityflux.net and ordering something, this is Fear the Funhouse Toy Box of Terror, but this is the Infinity Flux store exclusive variant cover with art by Andy Dugan right there. He did the cover, the artwork for this cover. But aside from all that, like this is a fun book too. This is a one shot that is three separate spooky stories, but they all tie into each other. So it's a little bit different than some of your other anthology horror books. But it's really fun from Archie. Archie, they do some of the best horror
So
books. Yeah,
well.
they're so good at it. So a really fun, a perfectly timed book for the season that it's in. And again, get your Infinity Flux store exclusive variant right there at infinityflux.net, right on the front page. It's right there for you to order right now.
Right. First up for me is a big one. I mean, size wise, this kaiju size issue. This is Justice League versus Godzilla versus Kong. It's not actually a kaiju size issue, it's a relatively normal sized issue. But this has been a long awaited book. It felt like it came out of nowhere. But if you want to see what are the events that lead to these kaiju, these classic Kong and Godzilla ending up in the DC universe, you're going to find out here. It's a kind of a Rube Goldberg of things that
Sure.
all happen, but it's really cool. There's some great character stuff in this, especially with Clark and Lois, and the Legion of Doom have some great stuff
Oh
going
yeah,
on
for
here.
sure.
Don't miss this one. This is going to be a big one this week.
Next, speaking of books that are perfectly timed for spooky season, this is Spine-Tingling Spider-Man #1. So this is the first issue of a new Spine-Tingling Spider-Man miniseries. And in this one, Peter Parker wakes up to find that nobody knows who he is. All of his stuff in his apartment is gone. His landlord says he's not supposed to be there, and he does not have his spider powers.
Hmm.
What's he going to do? He tries to run away, climbing up a building, but it doesn't go well for him, and then things get even worse when he gets on a very terrifying train ride. Things only get crazier from there.
Next up for me, talk about another heavy hitter. Actually, She-Hulk hits pretty hard because it's Sensational She-Hulk #1. Now, a thing to tell you about this one is if you enjoyed the previous She-Hulk run, you're gonna love this one. It's basically just a continuation of
Yeah.
the previous one, but it also has that air of you can jump onto it if you're new to it. It does catch you up on a lot of the story, but more slice of life adventures with She-Hulk as a superhero, She-Hulk as a lawyer, and just the crazy stuff she gets into, especially with the Punch Club.
Yeah.
That stuff is great.
Yeah.
So check out Sensational She-Hulk #1.
Next is Beneath the Trees Where Nobody Sees. This is a
Oh.
wonderful book full of cute little animals that live in a small town, just getting ready for a parade celebrating the anniversary of their town. It is so cute and fun. Oh, and the main character here has a penchant for killing people and burying their bodies in the woods after they've cut them to pieces. So, such a great, just a cute book all around.
Not for all ages.
And not for all ages, definitely.
Next up is Hack Slash Back to School. This is a new Hack Slash miniseries. If you're not familiar with Hack Slash, really great kind of homage to slasher movies with someone who hunts those baddies in these slasher movies. And this one is done by Zoe Thorogood, an award-winning writer artist. This is fantastic. Perfect if you've never read Hack Slash. Uh, I feel like this one might end up winning some awards by itself. It is really good.
Next is Daredevil #2, the second issue of the brand new Daredevil series. And in this one, the cops come to the St. Nicholas youth home because somebody has posted an anonymous article saying that there's all kinds of illegal activities going on there. Of course, Matt Murdock sends him away, but then he gets really mad. He has to take out his frustrations on somebody. So he goes patrolling the streets and runs into this really heavily armed new group of criminals shooting up the streets. He has to deal with them. Later on, he's researching and he finds out who wrote the article, and it is very surprising.
Next up for me, the big one. This one is big in size. This is Superman number 7 or Superman 850 in legacy numbering. So this is actually part 2 of the Chained storyline. But there's a lot packed in here story wise. You've got a bunch of returning artists like Jerry Ordway. I mean, Dan Jurgens.
Yeah.
Talk about classic
Yeah,
artists,
for
just
sure.
pulling out Jerry Ordway. No, Dan Jurgens works in this. Really, really cool. And we find out a lot more about this new villain, the Chained.
And then last for me is Invincible Iron Man number 11. Tony and Emma go on their honeymoon to Hawaii. One, to keep up appearances, but two, because of its proximity to Krakoa. Tony is wanting to steal some Mysterium that Emma left in her residence there. He puts on the stealth armor, goes to get it. Doesn't go as easily as he planned, but what he does with it afterwards is very, very cool.
And lastly, for me, Jay Garrick the Flash. So our next one in our new Golden Age at DC, Jay Garrick is back. But this book is about him and his daughter Judy, his long lost daughter that even he forgot he had because of the events that happened in Stargirl. But she's come back. She's the same young age like she was 60 years ago, but the world has moved on. Is there room for another speedster, especially one who doesn't quite get what's going on? This was fantastic. If you're a fan of the previous Flash run by Jeremy Adams, this continues some of his fun Flash writing here. And that is it for our top 10 quick comic picks this week. There are some big picks this week.
Oh,
There's
yeah.
so many more we didn't even talk about. That's why you should stay tuned for a longer show. We're going to be going over all these books and much more, all the variants, all of that. Coming up very soon. And like we said before, head to infinityflux.net where you can get that exclusive cover. Only place you can get it is
That's
in
right.
our store and on our website. And follow along, become a subscriber, all of that great stuff. So thank you so much for watching, and until next time, see
Yeah.
ya.